This is Entertainment for Review, and I'm back with another episode of The Big Bang Theory. And today I'm going to be reviewing Season 3, Episode 6, The Cornhusker Vortex. And this episode gets this title because one of the themes of the episode is Penny being a football fan from Nebraska, and that makes her a Cornhusker. Now, the episode starts off with Leonard, Sheldon, Raj, and Howard all coming down, carrying kites, and they are excited because they're off for a day of kite fighting, which I looked up and surprisingly is a real thing that people do. And I think that we need to stop the kite violence. We have enough other problems in this world. On the way out, they bump into Penny, who's on her way upstairs carrying some grocery bags and wearing her Nebraska t-shirt. Leonard invites her to come along, but she declines, saying that she has some friends coming over to watch the Nebraska football game, and she didn't invite him because she knows that he's not a football fan, which he confirms, although he does seem a little bit bothered by the fact that he wasn't invited. They agree to go about their separate plans, and Penny continues upstairs, and Leonard is upset because he now feels that Penny is hiding him from her friends, probably because, as Raj so perfectly captures, he's a small man who plays with kites.
Leonard just realized that Penny's been hiding him from her friends because he's a tiny little man who flies kites.
They get to the park, and they are having their kite battle, and Sheldon's a little frustrated because Leonard's heart is clearly not in it as he's still distracted with what Penny was doing. And on the other side of things, the other team of Raj and Howard are having their own problem as a woman runs by, and Howard thinks she smiled at him, so he abandons Raj in the middle of the fight to run after her, leaving him to lose the match, and thus lose his prize fighting kite to Sheldon. Leonard can't seem to get the Penny thing off his mind, so he goes and talks to her later after the game. All her friends have left, and he decides just to come out and ask her if she's embarrassed to introduce him to her friends.
Oh, hey, on a related subject, are you embarrassed to have me around your friends?
She says no, and just basically says that she thought he would be bored there. Leonard insists that he won't and says that he would like to meet Penny's friends, so she says he can come to the football game next week. He didn't count on that one because he didn't realize that football is a recurring game that happens week after week during the season. Leonard doesn't seem too excited and admits he doesn't know too much about football, but Penny says don't worry, some of the guys bring girlfriends who don't know much, and they just sit in the kitchen and drink and talk. I'm sure that didn't help Leonard's confidence as he just got compared to the girlfriends who come with the boyfriends to watch the games. So Leonard realizes he needs to prepare, so he starts watching some football so that he's not completely caught off guard and knows what he's doing when he goes to the game. We then see that Raj is still mad at Howard as he was watching the game with Leonard, and Howard comes in and is mad because he was supposed to be helping him pimp out his Vespa, and I'm not sure at all what that would entail. Leonard is struggling to understand the football terminology, and then we get a startling discovery, and that's that Sheldon knows football.
Sheldon knows football?
He says that this is because he grew up in Texas, and football is a very big deal in Texas. And we would later learn that Sheldon's father was a high school football coach. So Leonard asks Sheldon to teach him football, and Sheldon reluctantly agrees after Leonard makes this a Tier 1 friendship request. The day of the game arrives, and Leonard is getting ready. He's wearing a football jersey that is way too big for him, all that he claims was the smallest size they had, except for the one made for dogs, and Sheldon is busy making Ceylon toast. They discuss why Leonard is even going about this, and it's really just that he wants to continue being with Penny. So Leonard heads out to the game. We then pop back over to Raj. He's in his apartment, and Howard comes in, and he's trying to make up with him. He tries to do this by bringing Raj a new kite to replace the one he lost, although it's not equivalent, as Raj lost an authentic fighting kite from India. The one Howard brings him is a children's Hello Kitty kite that comes with a coin purse. What this scene really does, however, is further establish the bit of the creepy dynamic between Howard and Raj. It's almost like a couple's dynamic. Raj is mad at him because he says his attention's not in the moment when they're together, which is something you would often see a couple complain about on one side or the other. And in an attempt to make up for it, Howard just says things like, "I'll take you somewhere nice."
Come on. Let me take you someplace nice.
Raj picks somewhere and he agrees, and they head off to go to the La Brea Tar Pits. Just a bit of a weird dynamic for two friends. And who knows, Leonard's mom might have been onto something way back in Season 2, Episode 15, when she said that Raj and Howard seemed to have a pseudo-relationship with each other.
Might explain why the two of you have created an ersatz homosexual marriage to satisfy your need for intimacy.
So next we see Leonard at Penny's apartment watching the football game with her friends, trying to blend in. He's not doing too well as he's trying to prove that he knows a lot about the game by over-explaining everything that's going on the screen with too much detail. Sheldon comes over. We get an interesting part where he still knocks on the door in his traditional way, even though the door is open.
Penny, Penny, Penny.
After using all his bread for Ceylon toast, he finds himself wanting a sandwich and comes over to borrow some bread from Penny. He then, in his own way, tries to inconspicuously ask Leonard how it's going, and Leonard says it's good, he's enjoying it, and Sheldon tries to offer him a way out by asking him if he'd like to go fly kites, to which he says no, he's going to stay and watch the game. Penny tells him she wouldn't be bothered if he wants to go with Sheldon, and he says it's okay, the game's almost over, and she informs him that it's only halftime. At this, he decides to take off and leaves, says goodbye to everybody, and everybody's giving Penny a nod look, and she basically says, yep, that's my boyfriend, but hey, he's really smart. And we end the episode with Raj and Howard on their day at the La Brea tar pits to make up for what Howard had done before. They seem to be having a good time. Again, their dynamic is a little bit weird. And another woman walks by, and Howard is interested. He says he thinks she smiled at him. And this time Raj goes along and says he can chase her if he wants to, and even says he thinks she was smiling at him. As soon as Howard hears this, he takes off and is gone, leaving Raj sitting by himself. And again, he's a little upset and just says Howard's kind of a douche.
What a douche.
And that is The Big Bang Theory Season 3, Episode 6, The Cornhusker Vortex. For me, this episode is always just one of the filler episodes. There's not a lot going on in this episode. You can perhaps read a little bit into the fact that Penny's a little bit embarrassed to introduce Leonard to her friends because she's not sure how they would mix together, them being sports football fans, Leonard being more of a nerdy scientist who's into a lot of things, and sports is not one of them. But I don't think there's too much there to look into. Leonard does insist on going, gives it a shot, and Penny lets him, and so that takes care of that. Not a bad episode, just not one of my personal favorites. I would score this episode at a 6 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comments section, and please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and keep an eye out for my next video coming soon.